A sad ending to a great franchise. Because this is truly it. This is the end. The next time you're going to see a Dragon Age game is probably going to be in 10 years if you're lucky. Veilguard was absolute garbage. It was pure shit, in fact. It only made roughly 15% of the estimated sales that it's gonna do. It's nowhere near making any single cent back from its production costs and whatnot. And the people who made it are now making Mass Effect 5, which is gonna completely bankrupt BioWare probably in the next upcoming year or two, because there's no chance, obviously. People who like Mass Effect have given up on Mass Effect, and people who like Veilguard are currently probably still crying themselves to sleep because, well, they waited so long for a game, and Veilguard is what they got. I mean, that is sad. That is sad. And now the person behind the majority decision makings that made Veilguard such an absolute woke atrocity that literally cannot be described in any other way than just pull the barb is gonna move on to other things because the ineptitude ladder somehow works in reverse. And that just doesn't make sense, honestly. Where is the cleansing? I don't know, but I hope it's not bought because the world needs it.
Corinne Bush has officially broken his silence on why they left BioWare via Blue Sky. They go on to talk about the dismissal and how they left the organization and why they're moving on to a different location to work on RPGs. And this is just the proverbial tip of the iceberg when it comes to BioWare in peril. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Not only has Corinne Bush taken to Blue Sky, letting everyone know that why he left and what's going on, but in addition to that, BioWare itself seems to be imploding from the inside, with many top leaders leaving and no job openings available. It's got to make you...
Well, I mean, we expected this. We know that BioWare has had disaster after disaster. First it was Andromeda, then there was Anthem, then there was something else, and now there's this. I talked about this previously, but the short answer is, even if you're a ginormous company, a AAA giant, a house goddamn hold name like BioWare or Ubisoft, you can't fail 4 times in a row. You can barely fail 3 times in a row, honestly, because the reality is, I have heard a lot of people talk about this. Oh, someone did the calculations and Ubisoft is out of money from all the games that they previously made. They didn't have any money to begin with. They didn't have a reserve. That's not how businesses work. Any money that you have in a business that is not allocated to the budget is effectively wasted. You need to do you need to allocate every single dime in your company, otherwise you're not being efficient in the slightest about it. So these companies never had any money to begin with. They spent all of their initial money. Maybe they had some buffer because that's kind of smart, but that buffer didn't last, obviously. No buffer lasts into 3 game collapses that make absolutely no return on investments. Jesus, that's not gonna happen. And that's exactly the problem. All these games are typically made with borrowed money in a lot of cases. Because, they release a new game or they're about to release a new game, the sales are not in, and the sales are gonna need, a couple of months to actually get to the point where they want, but they need to already start making a new game. Now, if there's a budget overflow, that's fantastic in situations like this. But again, that's never the aim, obviously, especially for publicly traded companies. So they borrow money from banks or from whoever the fuck loans them any money. You need to be an idiot to loan BioWare money at this point, by the way. And they make that money from debt. Now, they make those games effectively through debt. And if their games fails, that debt probably has a pretty high percent interest in a lot of cases, depending on what they borrow, how they borrow, and all of those things. So when a company like a AAA makes a game and then they sell it and it doesn't make a return, they haven't paid off the debt. that they took out probably at that point, which means it's just climbing higher. Yeah, that's the real problem. And so it makes sense that BioWare and Ubisoft and all of these things are gonna actually shut down. Because for BioWare, that Veilguard was pretty much their last shot. I mean, can't that whatever's happening at BioWare is absolutely the equivalent of nuclear Armageddon at this point, because they have no money. I can guarantee you they are still thinking about what the hell are they gonna do to pay off all of the existing loans. Like, now, if you know businesses and how they operate and function, you know that BioWare is fucked. The same way that we knew that Ubisoft is most likely not going to make it more than a year or two in 2024.
You wonder, even though Jeff Grubb said, no, there's no truth to the rumors that Bioware Edmonton could be shutting down in February 2025, why does everything seem to be pointing to that rumor I reported on being correct? Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down Corinne Busche breaking his silence and telling everybody why he left. Corinne Busche, the controversial trans game director known for injecting trans ideology into the highly contested
why does he need to use those photos?
Role-playing game Dragon Age the Veilguard has officially announced his departure from BioWare on Blue Sky. This comes as really no surprise to anyone who's been following the growing struggles within BioWare and EA over the past few months. Grums and I previously broke this story before what appeared to be stolen by the mainstream media outlets and crediting it to Jeff Grubb. They really have no shame when it comes to this kind of stuff, and of course they're not redacting it or correcting their stories to put who actually...
Why would they? Because the reality is, JT can't do anything about this. Because the reality is they're just gonna say, oh, if you have a problem with this, go talk to Jeff Grubb or whatever. That's what they're gonna say. We took it from him. If you have a problem, make him first correct it. There's nothing he can do. This is how it works.
Actually broke the story because these people don't like people that are not part of the official club of the media, and God forbid they actually give credit to the ones that earned it. Corinne Busche on Blue Sky said, well, I suppose you've heard, ... Yes, I've made the decision to leave BioWare. I want to encourage everyone not to read too much into this. This was my decision so I could continue making the kind of RPGs you, and then in parentheses, we, enjoy. Thank you for the outpouring of love and support. You mean the world to me. And I find it fascinating that...
God, have we ever talked about this, by the way?
Support.
What the fuck? What is the fucking deal with this creature being built like a goddamn enchilada? An overfilled one at that. Like, what the hell is this? And don't tell me, Daddy, chill. Now, what the hell is this? What the hell is that?
You mean the world to me. And I find it fascinating that right away in the first message that they put out there, they say, don't read too far into this, it was my decision. As if this is something that we could provably call them out on. If EA and BioWare went to Corinne Busche and were like, hey, look, it didn't pan out, this game failed miserably, and we really need to boot you from this company because it's not going to be good going forward. So we can either fire you, or give you the option to resign on your own and tell people that you have something else going on out there and save face for both of us. And you...
To be completely fair, though, this is problematic because firing means you have benefits. Resigning means you are waiving your right to a couple of benefits, especially in high positions.
You can make the decision on what you want, but either way, you're out the door.
Well, obviously, they have the concept of, yeah, you can save face and say that you did not get fired, and you get half of the benefits. That's something that could be taken, but, I mean, depends.
But Corinne is saying, don't read too far into this, where I think that's actually pretty important. Why would somebody proactively be leaving Dragon Age the Veilguard if the game was successful? Why would they depart BioWare after decades of working there if they had no reason to leave? So yeah, people are going to read into this. And then going into, this was my decision so I could continue making the kind of RPGs you, and then parentheses, we, enjoy? Who is the you that you're referring to here? This game massively underperformed, and the we is the vocal minority.
I don't know about you boys, but I personally enjoyed the Veilguard being a thing. I mean, I had a lot of good laughs. I enjoyed it and spent zero money on it, in fact. Kind of a 10 out of 10 experience for me, honestly.
Some might even argue that's the modern audience, because the vast majority of people that played Dragon Age the Veilguard.
God, and that's my cunt dumpster. Okay, listen. I know she's functionally retarded, but god damn, her hips were made for birthing, and I don't care that it's knock on wood type of empty there. I mean, this woman literally fixes machinery by just bashing it in anger. My god, I have never seen anything hotter in my life. Okay, boys, say what you will, but this character right there is the hottest thing ever, and I'm gonna wipe that shit. Okay? No one can stop me. No comment you make is gonna change my mind. I don't care. Okay? You better be fucking there throwing rose petals when we walk down the aisle and she starts going in the wrong direction because goddamn that head is empty. Okay? Don't care.
We're not happy with the injected trans ideology and over-the-top self-inserts. And then, of course, notice how he sources Eurogamer's article that sources Jeff Grubb as the source for this rumor and information. And again, it's one big club, even going so far as it's not just the journal mafia that sticks together, but the developers are in bed with the journos. And I gotta be honest, this kind of feels a lot like that original Gamergate and how the ethics in journalism and how behind the scenes they were all buddy-buddy feels to be rearing its ugly head once again here. But he continues, saying, "Thank you for entrusting me with our dear Dragon Age. It was an honor to be a steward for the franchise and to play a part in ensuring its continuance. Biggest shout-outs to the wonderful
I mean, ensuring it's that she probably... Oh, wait, who is he again? She, he, what is it? Well, I don't want to be offensive here, you know? Is it he or she? I want to know because I'm a nice person, YouTube.
Epler, JC, Blue Sky Social, without whom I don't know if I'd have had the fortitude. Meaning, I read into that hearing that this person had no idea what the hell they were doing. They just wanted to make sure they saw themselves in this game and screw anybody that wanted to play an actual fantasy RPG that didn't have a self-insert of someone who was mentally unhinged with someone who's trans and pushing ideologies on the players of the game that just wanted to play a fantasy RPG. I mean, this in itself...
I mean, there's no higher form of fantasy than admitting that, hey, it's time to establish my trans identity. Call me crazy, but I think that's kind of peak fantasy in a sense because I'm never fucking doing that.
kind of exposes him for exactly what the problem was all along. And I find it very comical that he goes on to say, play a part in ensuring its continuance. There is no guarantee that Dragon Age will ever continue after how bad this game flopped. And for additional context, the Epler JC Blue Sky is...
Now, again, it will continue. What I said at the start, 10 years, it's if BioWare somehow magically musters through. But I don't know how long it's gonna be if some other company buys the IP. No idea. Depends on the company. Maybe they want to go into something, maybe not, who knows. But at this point, it's like, it's kind of looking rough if even anyone buys the IP rights. Because, I mean, look at Microsoft. They literally admitted that buying Bethesda was the one of the stupidest decisions that they ever made. And that buying Activision was also one of their stupidest decisions ever made. Like, that money is effectively spent on nothing. Their predictions on when they are going to recuperate any of their investment have been completely wrong. Jesus.
John Epler, who was the creative director, writer, and as he puts it on his Blue Sky, quote-unquote, other stuff for Dragon Age the Veilguard. While Corinne tries to paint his picture as a personal decision, the broader context tells everyone a very different story. Dragon Age the Veilguard was a significant commercial failure, rumored to sell only 1.5 million copies.
Exactly as we predicted, boys. Pat yourselves on the back, because Man, we're good at this stuff. We're good at predicting numbers. It's almost like I have a background in fucking finance. Wow, who would have expected? And in government. And I have read more books about psychology than most people have read pages.
Against a ridiculous original target of 10 million for a franchise.
And by the way, that's the combination why I hate my life so much. If you're wondering, don't fucking do that.
As storied as Dragon Age was originally, this shortfall was nothing short of absolutely catastrophic. Corinne's leadership is widely regarded as a key factor in this failure, leaving many gamers understandably very wary of any future projects that he's going to be involved with. And many that I've seen assume that they wouldn't be surprised to see him.
The best part is he's gonna get some job. The Vogue companies literally got smacked so hard this year and last year. Well, this year has just started, but they have gotten smacked so unbelievably hard. But there's still so much more smacking to be done, boys.
Trans back to being a man again to fit the next game company that he goes on to.
Remember, we can make Vogue super minor, but we can never get rid of it. It's a concept. It's an ideology. It's an idea. We cannot erase it. We will always have to just know that, hey, at any moment, a game can just turn fucking Vogue. That's it. That's going to be our lives until the end of time.
Work for, because at the end of the day, it's not about making the games, it's about ensuring job security for these people and pushing an ideology and a narrative. In one final Blue Sky post on the situation, Corinne hinted at their next steps, stating, "So extremely excited to see what Bioware does with Mass Effect, and I trust I'll be rooting for them the whole while." So seeing this here actually gives me some hope that Mass Effect will find a way to continue and move on and actually be created for people.
No way. The people who made Veilguard, except Kareen, or what's his face, they're all dead now making Mass Effect. It's completely over.
To play it, but based off the surrounding circumstances going on at BioWare right now, even that is subject to change. While Corinne may be excited to move on, gamers are already in the know and proactively preparing and warning others to steer clear of any projects he helms in the future. Given all the damage done to the Dragon Age brand under their watch, skepticism here is more than warranted. BioWare and EA has a much broader crisis going
Stop surgery, Scott.
on now that Corinne Busche has jumped off the proverbial sinking ship that they created themselves. Corinne's departure shines a light on the larger issues at BioWare and EA. The developer has been hemorrhaging talent for years, and between Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, and now Dragon Age the Veilguard, their complete inability to deliver hit...
Wait, what was that just now? Examine options related to gender identity. Choosing one will conclude the conversation. Ew, nice. Very cool, very progressive. I'm gonna buy 2 Dragon Age. Oh wait, I own none, so I'm gonna stick to that.
Complete inability to deliver hit games has only accelerated the terminal decline. A visit to BioWare's career page reveals a startling lack of open positions. In fact, as of today, BioWare has currently 0 job openings in any department anywhere. Almost as if they've implemented some sort of company-wide hiring freeze while they sort out what next steps are for BioWare proper. Pair this with my inside source.
Yes, but again, keep in mind, this does not mean that the developer part stops. The games are still being developed. The people who made Dragon Age are literally currently, while this is happening, making Mass Effect 5. Because, yeah, you can't exactly just not pay them and stop doing everything, because that's a bigger loss of money than, well, making shit, honestly. So, yeah, there's no choice. It doesn't matter if hiring has been frozen for now. It's not going to change anything.
Warning about how folks at the Edmonton studio in particular are concerned that their office will be shut down come February 2025. It has to make you wonder what's going on with BioWare in general. And sure, Jeff Grubb said, no, there's no truth to those rumors when I'm seeing all the evidence To the contrary, my source was right on this one. The lack of hiring and job availability alongside the major positions being vacated at present signals either a severe financial crisis for EA, the parent company.
Okay, feels like we already talked about this. Well, anyway, JT, true, big true. Smash JT, 10 out of 10, bye!